When growing up, I'm pretty sure all of us have at least watched one game of sports, either whether it be baseball or football. Well, while growing up, I watched a lot of baseball and football. For me, I loved watching the batter get up there and take a swing and take a hack and try and hit one out of the park. Watching football, watching the quarterback try and drop back and make a throw downfield for a quick, easy touchdown. Growing up, I watched the St. Louis Rams and the Los Angeles Dodgers, my two favorite sports teams. The Rams, a big offensive threat, became the most powerful offensive threat in 1999 and 2000. The Dodgers, well, on the other hand, were a very, very good pitching team and a very good small ball team, which means they didn't really have much offensive power. For the Rams in 2000, they had one of the best offenses and could throw downfield at any point in time. But then I started to realize it wasn't about the offense. It was about holding the team to no points. Because if a team couldn't score on you, they couldn't beat you. Which is when I came to the conclusion in 2000, watching the Rams in the Super Bowl, that defense wins championships. Today I'm here to explain why defense wins championships. In growing up, in the past few Super Bowls that I have viewed, 16 of the 19 defenses were in the top 10 in the league of defenses, of overall ranked defenses. 9 of the top 5, 9 of them were top 5, and 4 of them were number 1. Of the top 5 of the last 19 Super Bowls, which is what I looked up, the overall ranked defense last year was Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh won the Super Bowl. In 2002, it was Tampa Bay, in which they won the Super Bowl. And they won by an outstanding number of points, which was 48-21. In 96, it was Green Bay. They had the best defense. And in 92, it was Dallas with the number 1 defense. Clearly, in each of these Super Bowls, these teams had the defense to stop the other offense in order to win the game. They not only were the number 1 ranked defenses or the top ranked defenses, they were also the top 10 of scoring defenses, which means they caused the most turnovers, and they also capitalized on the turnovers. In fact, they would intercept the ball and run it back. As a matter of fact, I have a few clips to show you, and here they are. The projector's on, right?
No.
Oh, shoot.
The screen needs to be down.
Whoops. Oh well, I'll show that video in just a second. I just turned it on, so. Anyway, one of the clips I'm going to show you is from the 2000 Super Bowl, which was the St. Louis Rams versus the Tennessee Titans, in which the very last play of the game was a game-winning tackle by Mike Jones. And another clip I was going to show was a clip from the Pittsburgh Steelers game, which was the big turning point before the half, was when the DN dropped off into coverage and picked off the ball and ran it back for 100 yards against the Arizona Cardinals. Leading on to my next example, it's been 9 years of, I've also done the research on 9 years of World Series. And for the past 9 years, 7 of the 9 World Series champions have had the top 5 best ERAs, in which their pitching has shut down the opposing batters and has been able to control the runs in the game, whereas they didn't have to win by a large number of points because the other team clearly could not score on them. In the past 9 World Series, the losing team has not scored over 6 runs, which means in any of the games, which is a 7-game World Series best of 7, which means either they swept them in 4 games and they didn't allow more than 6 runs in one of those games, in at least one of those games, and from what I read from all the stats I read, in the last game they didn't allow more than 2 runs, which means the game-winning game they didn't give up more than 2 runs or they shut them out. It's become apparently obvious that in baseball, in order to really win championships, you need a really good pitching rotation, which means that they need to stop the hitters from making plays and let their defense do the work so that they're not as stressed about scoring runs. Because ever since I realized that defense is important, if a team can't score on you, they cannot beat you. Which, once again, defense wins championships. And it looks like it's loaded up, so I'm going to show you guys the clip now. Here's the play from the 2000 Super Bowl. And as you can see, he stopped him from scoring, which prevented the Tennessee Titans from pushing it into overtime, which was the only reason why the Rams won the Super Bowl that game. Because if he scores, I'm pretty sure that Tennessee was coming back to upset the Rams. Then here, the Cardinals are making a crucial move, and there's 18 seconds left in the second quarter, which means they're going into half. If they score here, it's 14-10, changing the momentum of the game. Ball's picked off by the defense which was the #1 defense last year, and ran all the way back. Although some of you guys like watching offense, which is a lot more exciting, it's the defense that naturally does win championships. By the way, that was a 99-yard return. And then for baseball, in 2001 World Series, they played against the Yankees, the most high-powered offense in baseball. They're also known as the Bronx Bombers. And these two pitchers were in the top 10 of best pitchers that year. As a matter of fact, Curt Schilling started the game, and then they brought in Randy Johnson to close it because that was their best choice. Also, not only have people decided that have discovered that defense is the most important thing in sports, but they've also started to focus their attention on the younger farm systems and the drafts on drafting defensive players. Over the past 10 years, all of the defensive draft picks in the NFL, as a matter of fact, about 60 or 70% of them have had more success than the offensive players because there's been over the last 9 years, I believe 6 of the top 9 picks were quarterbacks, and I believe one of them has actually panned out, and the rest, not so much. In conclusion, due to the evidence and stats and the history of baseball and football over the last 10 years, defense does win championships. And I guess offense is just for show and to see some points on board. Thank you.
Who was supposed to do the oral evaluation? I forget. All right, Thomas, could you go ahead and tell us what you thought?
Oh, no. I don't know anything about sports, but I got what you were saying pretty well. So you're talking about how the defense wins, and they stop the other team from scoring points, and then they turn over and score that. So got all that. I think the cited the Super Bowls, which was good, and then you explained how it actually worked, which I understood, surprisingly, because I don't know anything about sports. Visual aids are really effective. The only thing you can improve on was like being ready with the projector, I guess. That was pretty good.
Okay. I'd agree with some of the things that you're saying. You've got a lot of numbers in here. You've got a lot of comparisons that I think are pretty good. Let me just start at the beginning, and we'll work our way through quickly. The introduction's fine. I thought you did a good job identifying your topic. You had an excellent transition to the thesis statement, and we know very much where you're going. And then you go a little bit off the rails because I don't get any preview of what the content's going to be. There's no structure that's being presented, which becomes a problem in the content of the speech because then you just start kind of bouncing around on your examples, and it's not developing as a more coherent presentation. You've got good data. You need to tell us sometimes where you get the information, and I'm sure it's, you get it at NFL.com or MLB.com or someplace like that. So I don't doubt that it's accurate. But you want to make sure, for instance, when you're compiling your data, to give us some hint about where the information came from. And I'm not sure exactly how they measure the defenses in the comparisons that you're making. Is it just on running or passing? Is it combined defense? Is it points scored? Those kinds of things. Sometimes you need to give those explanations. But it did get a little overwhelming because you have so many of these comparisons that you're making. I thought the explanations were good. The visuals... Although you had a little bit of trouble getting them queued up, you handled that pretty well. You just went on and spoke and waited until the camera was ready, and that's exactly the way you want to handle something like that. You had 2 good illustrations with the football plays. I'm not sure that the baseball image worked quite as well. Maybe some statistical information or comparison for those games. A lot of the numbers that you're throwing around, for instance, could work well on like a table or some kind of graph that would compare the statistics of the teams in the different things. It's clear that you're talking about both football and baseball, but it's not clear when you're talking about each one, and that's part of that organizational thing that's an issue. Presentation, I think you do a good job talking to the audience. You seem to have plenty of confidence and a good way of speaking, but you got to get the pen out of your hand. It's a little distracting. The pencil, and in fact, it flips out of your hand at one point. That's a little awkward. All right, thank you.